In this episode, the government-appointed judicial panel has concluded that there was massacre at Lekki toll gate in October 2020. Also, we introduce you to a Nigerian man who became a billionaire in dollars after creating an app that is now being used worldwide. We also talked about French atrocities in Francophone Africa and how one man, Kemi Seba, is standing up against France. Lastly, I introduce you guys to another real estate opportunity in Nigeria that is available both in Lagos and Abuja. Don't forget you can always fast forward to the story that you would like to watch by clicking on the timestamp in the description below. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and subscribe to our channel if you're yet to. Call the roll the camera. What's up, people? It's your girl Adiola. Wow, as in wow. So finally, the government-appointed judicial panel that has been taking a look at what happened at Lekki toll gate has concluded their report. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They said that what took place at Lekki toll gate on October 10, 2020 was a massacre. I said, can you imagine? These people, they tried everything to make us doubt our sanity, as if we did not see what we saw. This whole thing was live streamed though on Instagram by DJ Switch, and it was as if we saw people that were shot, and these people were telling us that nobody was shot, nobody died, they didn't use live ammunition. Shoo, you see yourselves now. And so according to the report, they said that about 11 people were killed, 4 people are missing. I'm like, what do you mean by 4 people missing? When eyewitnesses have been telling us since that soldiers tried to do away with some bodies, that they were taking some bodies away. What do you mean missing? It's been a whole year. As a matter of fact, I don't understand why this whole thing has to take a whole year for you to admit that people were killed. A whole year in a democratic country. A whole year, and this is when they are not controlling social media. What do you think would happen if they are controlling social media? I don't see why it has to take us a whole year to admit to something that was live streamed. And as expected, the army came out, and this is what they have to say.
You must have seen that there's a report that was released through, in my view, a wrong channel.
Can you imagine? Wow.
Whether it's a true report, I can't tell, but I'd like to indicate that the normal procedure is to have such a report submitted to the convening authority, and then there will be a white paper that will be presented based on which one can make informed comments.
Okay, that's just like speaking a lot of grammar. I don't know. Can you believe? So they want another protocol. This man wants them to bring the report to them and for them to approve that this is right or not before the report will be released. Exactly what is he talking about? Can you? It is where I don't know. This is just beyond me. And you know, the one that pains me the most is the fact that it's not just the government that has been telling us that we did not see what we saw. There has been so many Nigerians. Every single time that I posted about the Lekki massacre on my Facebook page, for example, so many people would attack me and say, oh, nobody was killed. Adila, do you have any evidence? This, that. And it's just heartbreaking to see regular Nigerians that will always deny something just because they are not directly affected. It's such a shame, because people like that, if their family members were to be affected in any way, they would want people to stand up for them. They would want the whole world to stand up for them. And then after the report came out, as expected, some of these Nigerians started circulating that, well, one of the names listed in the report as people that were killed at Lekki Gate did not die that day. It was actually the day after that he died. And I'm like, shoo. What about the other people that were killed? Why are we so bent on wanting to be right that we have forgotten how to be human? I don't get it. And of course, people are now calling for Lai Mohammed's resignation. I have seen the news headlines, you know, all kinds of organizations, human rights organizations, recommending for Oga Buhari to fire Oga Lai Mohammed. I think it's a great recommendation. I just don't know if Buhari would do anything because he has ear infection. So I don't know if he could hear any of that. Anyway, I'm happy that the report is finally concluded. I'm hoping that the family members will get some kind of closure. We'll keep you guys posted because I'm still waiting to see what the Lagos state government would say about the report. I really would like to hear what they have to say. As of the time we're shooting this, Lagos state government is yet to react. Anyway, you guys know I don't know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. Today I like to start this episode with an inspiring story of a man named Tope Awotana. That's the CEO and creator of the fast-growing app called Calendly App. This man has an incredible story of perseverance and drive and seeing a problem within his community and his workplace and then deciding to do whatever it would take, whatever was necessary to make it become a reality for him to solve that problem. So Mr. Awotana was born in Lagos, Nigeria. His dad was a microbiologist, his mom a pharmacist, but when he was 12 years old, tragedy happened. He actually witnessed his father being murdered in a car hijacking. The armed robbers collected the car keys, and after doing that, they still shot his dad at point blank range. And because of that awful experience, he actually developed PTSD and insomnia at an early age. I cannot even imagine the effect that would have on anybody, not to talk about a child, a young person. So then he moved to the US to study high school, his college, but after earning a business degree from the University of Atlanta, he tried 4 different businesses, and guess what? They all failed.
For me, it did take 4 failures. So I started 4 different businesses, and they all failed way before I finally got to Calendly. And I became motivated to see what was on the market to solve it. Nothing elegant. Nothing on the market I thought was elegantly solved the problem.
Wow. I just feel like so many people would have given up after the second business failed or after the first business. But to have 4 different businesses fail and he still continued, that's awesome. That's incredible. And then when he started developing Calendly App, which by the way, the reason that he developed this app was to solve a problem that he saw.
And Calendly really came from a personal problem that I had. I was looking to schedule a meeting in my role. It took way too many emails. And I became motivated to see what was on the market to solve it. Nothing elegant. Nothing on the market I thought was elegantly solved the problem.
It's basically like calendar, and it helps anybody to make an appointment with somebody else from anywhere in the world in real time. Like you can basically see what their schedule is like, and you can know when their openings will be, and you can make your own appointment with them. So long as this person is using Calendly, you can actually schedule an appointment with them. That's just amazing. I'm sure that so many people that wanted to see like high-ranked people or that wanted to go to a company that they needed their help and they're wondering how can I make an appointment. A lot of companies are using this now, especially a lot of tech giants are using it. And of course, regular people are also using Calendly. Also, if you have a workplace and people wanted to make an appointment to come, maybe you're a photographer, they want to make an appointment with you to come for a photo shoot, they can just go on your Calendly app and see when you have openings for them to come in and you can just make an appointment like that. A lot of companies are using Calendly now. Anyway, he saw the need for that, and that's why he created that app in order to solve a problem. And once again, this is something that I've said several times on this show, that if you want to be successful, just look for a problem that you can solve. Even if you think somebody else is already solving this problem, but you have a different approach, don't ever say, well, it's already out there. Like Yvonne Oji said in her book, just go to where they sell water, the water aisle. You will see all kinds of flavor, all kinds, like different types of water. And guess what? People are buying every single one of them. So your idea may be what the world is waiting for. So back to our story. While working on that app, he actually at some point risked his life in order to meet with some of his team members in Ukraine, people that could help him build this project. He even flew there in 2014 at the time that Ukraine began a violent revolution in order to overthrow the leader of the country at the time. This man flew to Ukraine in the middle of an emerging war zone. It was like he wasn't afraid for his life, and that was despite protests from his family members and his friends. He was just so bent on seeing this thing through that he decided to risk his life.
You're trying to fly into the airport while everyone is trying to fly out.
Looking back on it now, it's very obvious that what I did was crazy. But at the time, I was so focused on getting the business off the ground. It felt like such an urgent need that I guess I was willing to die for it.
Wow. Oh, by the way, did I mention that he was doing this entire thing from his pocket at that time? He was taking out loans, he was maxing out credit cards, he was dipping into his 401k and so on and so forth, just so he could see this thing come to pass. That's how determined he was. And so he was able to start Calendly in 2013. At that time, he was 31 years old. And when he started, not many people knew about Calendly. Like, people were not even using it. He was looking for investors. People were not investing. They were like, what's this? There's no need for that. But this is what I love about him. He did not give up. Guess what? Today, guess how much Calendly is what? $3 billion US. Wow. Let us sink in for 1 minute. In Naira, that is 1.2 trillion Naira. Ah, Jesus. What is my 3 billion idea? Father. Remember your girl, eh? Calendly today is being used by giant tech companies like Microsoft. Microsoft alone has more than 180,000 workers, as well as Google. Google alone has more than 139,000 workers. And guess what? Even IBM is using Calendly today. Do you know how many workers IBM has? 350,000 workers. Amen, somebody. And can I just say that if he had given up after his first business failed, or if he had given up after the second or the third or the fourth business failed, do you know that he would not be who he is today, and we may not even know about him? I don't know who's watching me today. Maybe you gave up because things were tough, life is tough, or because the business didn't turn out the way you were expecting, or it's costing you too much money, or COVID affected your plans, or you started it and then you ran out of funds and people didn't believe in you, or maybe you started and you realized it's a whole lot of work than you anticipated. Please let his story be your inspiration today to get back up, to never give up. Some of you right now may be sitting on another $3 billion idea, or 3 million, whatever you want to aim for. Not about money, let me stress that. It's about solving a problem that could make life easier for millions of people. And do you know, by that is how you yourself become successful. But like I said, maybe no one believes in you, or maybe even you don't believe in yourself. Because it looks impossible. Well, I believe in you. I know that I'm nobody. I'm nobody. But just in case someone needs to hear this today, I believe in you. You can do this. Just get up and do not give up. Honestly, thank you so much to this man for making us proud as Nigerians in the abroad, especially because so many Nigerians are spoiling our names by scamming people and our politicians are misbehaving. But a man like this has made us proud. He did something incredible. Do not forget, guys, find a problem in your community or in your field. If you also want to be successful, discover a solution, and don't let anyone tell you that what you're doing is impossible. People always say it's impossible until somebody does it, and then everybody rushes into it. A huge disclaimer, please do not do anything illegal. We are begging you. And do not do anything immoral. But unless you decide to try, you would never know if you are also sitting on the next $3 billion idea. You guys never know much. Guess what? I'm just skipping the room. Moving on to Burkina Faso, guys. Actually, before I tell you what happened in Burkina Faso, I'd like to introduce you guys. For those who may not know, please meet Kemi Seba, a very popular Francophone activist who's making waves in so many French-speaking African countries as an advocate because he's fighting against the French oligarchy in Africa. Oligarchy means when a small group of people, in this case in France, are controlling the destinies of millions of people that are speaking French in Africa. Now, his biggest campaign has been against the CFA franc, that is the French currency, the French money, which is still the money that is being spent today by French-speaking African countries, which France is using to continue to colonize those African countries' economy.
Après l'indépendance de ces pays, c'est toujours la France qui gère la monnaie de ses anciennes colonies. Une situation unique.
French is literally controlling their economy. I've talked about how ridiculous this is a number of times on this show. For those who may not know, so many African countries that were colonized by France are still spending the money that they were spending before independence. This money is being printed in France. It is being regulated by France. They bring it to Africa. All these African countries don't have control over their own money, the money that they spend. Even France is no longer spending franc. Since January 1st, 1999, they now spend euro, but these African countries are still spending the CFA franc. First of all, let me tell you the meaning of this CFA franc. It means French colonies of Africa. This is what they are still carrying around. That's not the only issue. Their cash reserve is in France. They make them deposit 50% of the CFA franc reserve into the French central bank. This is just ridiculous.
Centrales de la zone franc doivent déposer 50% de leurs réserves de change à la Banque de France.
I remember in 2019, 8 of them were talking about finally withdrawing their reserve from France. Just imagine that. And on this show, I've also talked about how all the West African countries, both the French-speaking and the English-speaking West African countries, came together and decided to come up with their own currency so that it will foster trade amongst us. You know, we can all spend the same money like they're doing in Europe. You know, it really helps the euro to be really, really strong. The West African countries were also trying to come up with something that would strengthen their economy, strengthen inventing their currency, but that was short-lived, guys. As soon as this African president started meeting, trying to come up with their own currency, France felt threatened, and they knew that a lot of francophone countries in West Africa would have to do away with the CFA franc that they are able to control. Guess what? Suddenly in 2019, France announced that they are now coming up with a new currency for these West French-speaking African countries. Suddenly in 2019, France said they are now introducing a new currency for the francophone West Africa. They called it the ECO. You see how they double-crossed West African countries? Can you guys believe the audacity of France? And suddenly, they divided these leaders of West Africa. 8 of the French-speaking African countries in West Africa who were ready to work with their English-speaking counterparts, they were enticed by the ECO. They told them that the ECO would be pegged to the euro and that it would be very strong and it would be backed by the French treasury. They also told them that the euro will guarantee the ECO's convertibility and stability, with the treasury remaining as guarantor for all 8 of these countries. You know, the most ridiculous of French atrocities in Francophone Africa till today is the fact that so many of these Francophone African countries are still paying colonial taxes to France since independence. Yeah, let me tell you the story of how this whole thing started. You see, when the country of Guinea decided to be independent in 1958, the French were so upset that they had to leave, and so they decided to destroy everything that they built in Guinea, and everything that they could not take, they destroyed. They burned down so many buildings, including schools, public administration buildings. They were all crumbled. Cars were destroyed. Even books. Who destroys books? Medicines were destroyed. That's like the height of wickedness. Research Institute instruments were destroyed. Even tractors were crushed down. Horses and cows were killed. They were slaughtered. And the food that they had in warehouses were either burnt down or poisoned so that if anybody eats the food that they left behind, those people would die. This is what France did in Guinea when Guinea decided to become independent. They destroyed these things. They said these things were the benefits of colonization, and that since they were rejected by Africans, that they would take the benefit of colonization with them. Wow. Now, when the other French-speaking African countries heard about what happened in Guinea, they were afraid, so they negotiated to pay taxes to their colonial masters for these so-called benefits of colonization. Even though in some of these countries, these taxes for benefits of colonization were so high, it could be as high as 40% of the entire budget of their country, yet they started paying it, and they still pay it till today. Basically, my people, this is how France is using African money to develop their own country, while ensuring that these Francophone African countries are not completely free from their influence, because if France would no longer get all the money that it's getting from Africa, if these Francophone countries should become free.
On oublie seulement une chose, c'est qu'une grande partie de l'argent qui est dans notre porte-monnaie vient précisément de l'exploitation depuis des siècles de l'Afrique.
And since that time, so many Francophone leaders have tried to free themselves from the control of France. But if you've been observing, France would always sponsor a coup leader to take them out, and then they would install the coup leader that they can control. We've seen this happen over and over again in so many Francophone African countries, and it is still happening till today. If you've seen the video that I made about Thomas Sankara, this is exactly what happened in Burkina Faso when Thomas Sankara's friend in the army killed him and took over. And you guys know how Thomas Sankara was preaching about liberation of Africans. If you're yet to see all the great things that he did before he was killed, I'll put the link in the description, the video that I made about him that time. He really tried to get Burkina Faso to be self-sufficient, and they were doing it. They were making their own clothes, they were making their own food, everything, and then of course France took him out. We also saw a similar thing happen in Togo with Yancigbe the father. So this is why, unlike the English-speaking part of Africa, so many of the presidents in the Francophone part of Africa, they usually overstay. They overstay even for decades, as long as they have the backing of France and do whatever France wants them to do until France gets tired of them and then they take them out. So that's why in a place like Togo, for example, Yancigbe was president for 38 years after killing Sylvanus Olympio, the man that wanted Togo to to be completely independent from France. And then when Nyansigbe died after 38 years in power, his son took over and he's been president since then. That was 2005, 16 years ago. So father and son have been president in Togo for more than 50 years now. That's just insane. Sometimes we, the English-speaking part of Africa, we say, what are the people of Togo doing? What are they looking at? How can they allow father and son for more than 50 years? But to be honest with you, when these presidents have the backing of France, it's really hard for the people to kick them out. So back to Kemi Seba, enough of my preachings. This man is 39 years old. He will be 40 next month. Happy birthday in advance, my brother. Even though he was born in France, both his parents were from Benin Republic, and he has dedicated his life to fighting for Francophone Africa and the Caribbean, as well as the freedom of black people in general, to be truly independent of France oligarchy, especially the currency that they are spending, the CFA franc, or the upcoming French currency, the ECO, that they wanted to introduce to West Africa. And he's also campaigning for an end to French military presence in the Sahel Africa. So last month, he organized a rally in Burkina Faso, and he flew in for the rally. But on his way to the venue of the rally, that's in Bobo Dioulasso, he was arrested. His passport was seized. They detained him overnight, and then they deported him to his home country, Benin, where he lives now. Even though he was born in France, he has moved back to Benin Republic. Somebody in France has spoken to the leaders of Burkina Faso to stop Kemi. But if you know him, he doesn't give up, and that's what we love about him. You know, he's determined to see French Africa become free. I wish that more people would stand up like he's doing, risking his life basically, because France knows his campaign. And if you speak French, you would find more of his videos on YouTube. He's also on all social media platforms. If you speak French, you would be able to understand him. And what I love about him is the fact that he's not just fighting for his country, Benin Republic, he's fighting for all of Francophone Africa as well as the Caribbean. I really look forward to the day that we can celebrate victory with Kemi, and we'll keep you guys posted about his campaigns and the things that he's doing in different parts of Africa. You guys know I don't know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. So guys, I am so excited to introduce you to another real estate company on which I've been doing my due diligence for several months now in order to make sure that they are legit and that they deliver and treat you guys well and give you a good discount. Just like I introduced you guys to Auntie Grace Ofure. She has some amazing deals coming up, by the way, which I'll be telling you guys soon. But I want you to meet Uncle Kola Ashiru Balogun. He's the owner of a company called Terra Developers Limited, and he has properties for you guys in Lagos and Abuja, Nigeria. And of course, you do not have to be a Nigerian or live in Nigeria in order to take advantage of this investment opportunities, because he's giving everyone that comes through me, if you say you're coming from Adela, he's giving you guys a 5% discount. Oh shit. First of all is Olivia Court. That's in Lekki Phase 1. This has luxury studio apartment, 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments, maisonette and terrace houses with BQ. What is BQ? Isn't that like boys' quarter? I mean, these are really fancy stuff. All furnished to taste. Keep in mind that these are all fully serviced apartments, so you don't need to worry about generator or megad, you know. Everything is taken care of for you guys. They also have some fully furnished studio apartments, as in with TV, bed, furniture, which you can use as short let or short stay apartments when you're not around. And they will manage this for you, by the way, just like Auntie Grace does for her customers as well. You see, I'm always finding the best deals for you guys. And they also have 1 and 2 bedroom duplex apartments. Phase 1 is sold out, by the way. I'm so sorry. But you know, while I was doing my own verifications and stuff, in fact, I want to seize this opportunity to thank an amazing man, Engineer Godwin Yunadu. God bless you, sir, from Development Control in Abuja. This man helped us to verify the proper registration of their Abuja properties. So Engineer Godwin, in case you're watching, God bless you, sir. We're so grateful. And he also confirmed the properties in their system, and he went there to see with his kuro eyes. God bless you, sir. So back to what I was saying. While we're doing all that, Phase 1 sold out, but I don't like to do things gra. I would rather take my time and do it well. So Phase 1 sold out. I'm sorry about that. In fact, those that bought Phase 1 will be getting their homes this very next month, December 2021. So this video that you guys are seeing in the background is from Phase 1, and between the time that they paid their money and the time that it was completed, the value of their properties have risen by over 30%. Woo! That's beautiful. Well, guess what? Phase 2 is now selling, guys. And anybody that buys from this Phase 2 project, their apartment will be ready and delivered by December of next year. And trust me, the value would have gone up by that time. Please do not miss this opportunity if you're thinking about real estate opportunities in Nigeria, especially because if you cannot pay the full amount, you have two great options. You can either pay 20 or 30% upfront and then spread the balance over a period of 1 year, or, and this is my favorite, you can pay 20% upfront and then spread the balance over a period of 5 years. You had me right. 5 years, guys. So it's just like how we pay mortgage in America. And if you're abroad and you buy from this company, they will always have a free 2-bed unit for you to stay in any of their existing shortlets for as long as your unit is under construction and you're visiting Nigeria from abroad. So if you want to take advantage of this, instead of staying in a hotel and paying huge amounts of money, please let them know in advance. Don't come and then call them when you get to the airport. Let them know in advance so that they can plan well. They will even pick you up at the airport, the whole fancy scenario, you know. And you can stay in their shortlets for up to 1 week. 1 week, just 1 week in a year, But they will make sure that you have constant electricity and anything else that you need while you're staying at their shortlet. Of course, prices in Lagos start from 32 million naira. The prices in Abuja start from 18.9 million naira. Don't forget that is before you apply my discount. So hey, and like I told you, you have up to 5 years time to make full payment. But do not forget that you'll be getting a discount if you say that you're coming from me. Plus, you have up to 5 years to finish the payment. Now, the best part is they have a US bank account as well, and you can just pay to their US bank. You don't even to be sending money to Nigeria. Uncle Kola comes to the US a lot, actually. So whenever next is coming, if any buyer would like to meet with him, I would make sure that I let you guys know the next time that he's coming. So the same thing goes for their properties in Abuja when it comes to how you can make payments. They have 2 new sites in Abuja. The first one is Eric's Park in Life Camp, and the second one is Zara's Place in Lugbe. And they will be launching serviced plots in Abuja in the near future. So let's start with their properties in Zara's Place in Lugbe. These are 1 and 2 and 3 bedroom units. Prices start for as low as 18.9 million naira for a 1 bed. It's perfect for a shortlet, and the site is located just by the expressway, and you don't even need to drive into Lugbe. It's 15 minutes from the airport or 15 minutes to CBD, that is a Central Business District. Please know that these units will appreciate even more once they get to a substantial construction level. And of course, their second apartment complex in Abuja is known as Eric's Park. This is where you can buy a 3-bedroom townhouse for 39 million naira. Please keep in mind that other properties in that area are selling for a minimum of 60 million naira. So it's a really good time to get in. Like I said, in the next 1 year, the prices would have gone up. It's located by SPA Supermarket and it's 15 minutes to CBD. Once again, the estate will be fully serviced with all amenities. And you can always contact helpmewaka.com to help you confirm anything that you need to confirm regarding this company. Once again, if you contact Terra Developers, you guys are in good hands. I'm so happy to introduce them to you guys. And do not forget to let them know that you're coming from me so you get your 5% discount. You guys not know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. Alright, y'all, it's been real and I'm keeping it right up in here. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you're yet to subscribe to my channel, I'm watching you on Plasma TV. Press the subscribe button and the bell button. Until next time, I'm gonna see you all later. Peace out.